Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun, looking at charts, like the chart behind me, which is of the SPY, the S&P 500 ETF, at market open on January 4th, which is a Thursday. And so I'm just going to be streaming for the next hour or so. So if you have any ticker requests, happy to take them. And yeah, and if you have any ticker requests and you're watching this after the stream, feel free to leave those requests in the comments. Happy to take them. And yeah, pretty excited about today. And yeah, so let's see. SPY is basically flat. It's looks like it's down 0.1%. Yeah, and I usually look at charts on the daily time frame, so looking at it on the 10-minute, great for doing the live streams, but not what I'm used to, but it's nice to look at it this way. It's a little more dynamic. And yeah, I do have somebody was requesting that I go over a uranium company, so I will do that in just a minute. And then just go over, some of the general stocks. And also, hey, let me know if you guys like this setup more where there's no like green screen because I got a comment that it was a little glitchy, a little not so great, which I actually had that same critique, but I didn't have the desk situated with a nice blank wall behind me, which I do have now. So I'm probably going to keep it like this, but I might adjust things a little bit as I get more familiar with the setup. And also, I should do this at the beginning of the stream. If you're new to the channel, if you like the content, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Share your thoughts in the comments, live chat, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. And yeah, so I'm just going to flip the SPY over to the daily just so we can see. Yeah, so this diagonal line, this is just from the Fibonacci retracement, so it's not necessarily significant, although it does kind of look like it has been with like a little bit of a touch there. And yeah. But yeah, so I don't have any SPY right now, but I do have some SH, which is the short. And by have some, I don't really have large position. I just every week I add a little bit more to it whenever it's down. But I don't think I have this week because it's been in the green. Yeah, it just moved up to fill this gap, so that kind of makes sense. And yeah, it might be flattening out a little bit. But yeah, we'll have to see. I've also been accumulating the SQQQ, which is short Nasdaq, and that also looks like it might be flattening out a little bit. But the day just started, and then I've also somebody in the live stream suggested I look into this SOXS, which is the semiconductor bear ETF. And yeah, this has been performing really well. I just picked some up, I think Friday and Monday, and yeah, it's doing pretty well. So I'm happy with that. Just kind of, not necessarily a long-term hold, but just kind of a forget about it kind of hold. But yeah, I might let's see. I might switch over to a daily list. I just try to put tickers that I'm interested in. I might make videos on, and so this uranium energy stock was requested that I go over, which I will probably actually I should put this in the I think I have a uranium list, so I should look at it there and just kind of compare these other ones because I have done a video on URA and NXE. And then the UEC, let's see, maybe look at this on the weekly time frame. Oh, man. So this is, go back to 2011. So let's see. This is like 2021 right here. So this is a high around April 14th. Let's see. April 14th. This is April 14th, 2022. Yes, this is around, yep, the same spike there. Yeah, so this is a pretty similar chart to the URA and NXE. Yeah, so I mean, all of these are pretty comparable. You got the two spikes here, two spikes here, two spikes here. Let's just see. This is, 27 bucks, $6. Yeah, so I think, yeah, NXE and UEC seem pretty similar. So you got the three little peaks here, three little peaks here, and they're just, subtle differences between them. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this is UEC, another uranium company. Let's look at their profile. Uranium Energy Corp is a uranium mining company. The company advances in situ recovery, mining uranium projects in the United States and high-grade conventional projects in Canada. Let's see. Yeah, so I guess that's a mining company, whereas NextGen is not. Oh, well, yeah, exploration and development stage company. Yep. So yeah, this is they're pretty similar companies. This one's just, it looks like all based in Canada, whereas UEC is, I think, primarily US, but also Canada. Hey, and I see somebody's joined in the live stream. Let me know if in the live chat if you have any ticker requests. Happy to go over them. I got a request in a comment about UEC, which is uranium energy. Just kind of comparing it to the other two uranium tickers that I went over. URA, which is the ETF, and then NextGen, which is another company. But yeah, I might go over to this list and see what's going on. Maybe see what's changing a lot. What's been changing a lot today? Walgreens down 10. Wow. That's a pretty big move so far. Yeah, I can't remember when I made the last video, but I was thinking that I'm pretty sure I was thinking it was going to break down. And that's apparently not what happened. Yeah, so this is like the most down out of everything that I've covered, about 10.5% right now. What's up the most? QS, QuantumScape. I also made a video on this. And that was like I think a bigger, broader picture kind of video. Nikola is up 5%. Oh, I'm looking at the weekly. I don't know why I'm looking at the weekly. Look at the gap up on QuantumScape. I'm actually going to flip this back to see, because I don't know, I was looking at the weekly. Yeah, look at that big drop, and there's like a double gap here now for Walgreens. Yeah, I feel like I was cautious of this for some reason. I'm not sure why, because yeah, this just looks pretty, like, over here, downtrending channel, and then you have this kind of consolidation, this wedge. Like a falling wedge, I would think that would break to the upside. Hey, what's up? Good morning. Hey, it's actually kind of like my evening. I'm working like the night shift, so I just got off work recently. So it's a weird week, and next week's going to be weird for me as well, because I'm doing the night shift the full week. But because of that, I'll probably be doing more live streams, so that should be nice. But yeah, Nice start to the day with a stream. Yeah, and if you guys have any ticker requests, let me know in the chat. Happy to go over any stocks. Yeah, there's some. I'm probably going to do a follow up on Rivian. And I think what I'll do is I'm going to do, like moving forward, since the channel's picking up a little bit more, rather than doing videos on individual stocks, I might like, if I see patterns that are similar in two different companies, I might do like paired analysis, because I had been doing that with Rivian and SoFi, and like, because both of them had this like falling wedge pattern, both of them broke out, and both of them had this like these big up moves and then consolidation. Rivian was downtrending, so I thought it was going to break up, whereas SoFi was kind of uptrending. It looked like it would break down. Both of them broke down, so I think a paired analysis would probably be nice if I notice things that are similar, and then also you get, multiple tickers per video. So I don't know if that would actually be enjoyable for you guys. I've just tried to, in order to keep videos as succinct as possible, just focus on one stock. But I might be able to do more if I do little comparisons like that. But yeah, I'm probably going to do a follow-up on Rivian because, while this did drop, it did leave this gap behind. It does look like it's been caught at this blue line, which corresponds. Whenever I do blue lines, I try to be coordinated with the colors. I try to assign blue for gaps. And so there's this gap here that was filled, and it looks like the price is being caught there. So I wouldn't be surprised if, and $20, it's also like a psychological level. Yes, I will definitely go over SoFi. Yeah. Let's see. I might actually switch this to alphabetical, because then it's easier things don't jump around. So SoFi. Yeah, I mean, like these charts look very, very similar. It's very weird that SoFi was like uptrending, which seemed clear to me that it would break down. But then in contrast, Rivian being, coming down like this, I thought it would move up. This seemed like a bull flag, but I should have factored in that this is all the end of last year and prices up a good amount. So people are probably waiting to sell in the new year so they don't have to pay taxes for until next year. But yes, SoFi. So I'd drawn these two lines here. There's this consolidation here. And so because of that, there are buyers and sellers there. It's going to be harder to pierce through this level because of that. So, really like support begins at this top line. And then if price does drop down, it might be a little bit weaker there. However, that is the top of this channel, it looks like. So that might end up serving as support. But yeah, it's and Palantir. Yeah, definitely go over Palantir as well. That's been I think that might be the most viewed video so far. It got I think algorithm picked it up or something yesterday. Yeah, so I'm on like pretty much all of these stocks, so SoFi, Rivian, and Palantir. If I don't get to it before the weekend, I'm definitely going to be doing update videos over the weekend. But yeah, with Palantir, I think this is really interesting because, I went over in that video that this yellow line at like right around 16, it says 1601, but might as well just make it round 16. And this downtrend from these highs, it looks like that's acting as support. So I wouldn't be surprised. And there's also this gap up here now. And there's another gap here. So I wouldn't be surprised if it consolidated here for a little bit. And I think it'd be really, this to me seems like it's a little precarious, because if it does consolidate here, it could be forming a bear flag that could then break to the downside. And so I'm still getting better at identifying those. But if it consolidates and it's, basically not making new highs as it consolidates and it's just kind of flat, or if it starts trending up, then that either of those could break to the downside. Those would be like a bear flag. If this is to go up, we'd want to see it kind of gradually go lower, basically following this orange line, and then it would be more likely to break to the upside. Or if we just get a bounce. Ideally, we just get a bounce. So yeah, this will be tricky to assess whether it's going to go up or down. I mean, I think basically this gap just shrank. It got cut in half. There's not as much of a gap here anymore. But that's still a pretty big gap. That's, a whole dollar gap right there. So, I mean, well, this, left a more than $2 gap. And then look at what happened after that. You got these big moves. So I could see it move up and then to retest 1721, but then to retest 1721 and then that acting as resistance. If it can't break above 1721, and it got rejected from there, I think that it would definitely come down. And if it broke through 16, then I do think that it would be coming down to fill this gap, which might be short-lived, especially if that happens more like in February, because there's this uptrend that, price is broken below it, but it's been short-lived. So so you're asking if it could gap, let's see, may not gap up to fill the prior gap before dip lower than 16. So what I could see happening is we'll have to see what happens today and tomorrow. I don't think anything crazy is going to happen today or tomorrow. If anything does happen that's crazy, I think it would be a move up to test 17, fill these gaps, but then be rejected around 1721. And I think that could take a week or two. Look at, this gap was formed the beginning of November, and it took an entire month before it came back down to that level. And so that's a pretty big move there. And then basically another month for this part. So I could see, but both of them are short months because of holidays, had short weeks in them. And so I could see this is a smaller move, but I could see it going up to this red line and testing that throughout January. But I could see it by the end of January being back at 16 and failing to hold that as support and then dropping down to fill the gap. And then really once that gap is filled, I mean, there's gap down here. And then also I think a small gap right here. But I think that, gaps do get left behind. And I think a really good example of that is if you look at the Tesla chart. I think I saw a gap at $17 or something. That gap's never being filled. So not all gaps end up being filled. And so this is a pretty big gap here. This is so it's 8. Let's see. Has a high of a little less than 8, and this is a low. Yes, that's about a dollar gap. I mean, it just something really bad would have to happen for price to come down here. So I feel like this gap, it's probably in the rear view mirror, at least, for the immediate future. But this gap, I think this gap will be filled, but I could see, because it's stopping here and it does look like it's, there are two levels that seem pretty important. One just being $16, round even number. You have that acting as support resistance over here, multiple tests. support over here, and then this is, it's approximate, but resistance here as well. So yeah, I think that yellow line's significant. And then also this downtrend, not only acting as resistance here, but it basically acted as support following this gap up and right around here, just be approximately. So I think with these two lines being there, I think it makes sense that it stopped there. And with these small gaps to the upside, I could definitely see it bouncing to 1720, filling those gaps over the course of January. But then by the end of January, I think I could see it back at 16, just like November, beginning of November, you see it right here. And then beginning of beginning of December, you see it right here. And then this is, let's see, the end of December. So I could see another month-long bounce, test it here, and then break down. And then it would be testing, not like, yeah, I mean, I guess this is the middle of February, but it could be if it dropped here, I could definitely see the gap fill around here, around mid-February, because you could get a wick or a tail of a candle coming down, filling that gap, but then getting a close above or right around not only this orange downtrend, which, I mean, is acting as support right now, but also you have this white uptrend. So I think that you have like a convergence of different levels of support. And really, like when you fill a gap, that's getting to a level of either support or resistance, because here there was a little bit of consolidation here. And also, yeah, I mean, you can see it's a little bit above the gap, but you have this like volume shelf here, and you have a little bit more. I mean, it's less volume than this shelf, but you do have a little bit of a peak here relative to below that. Yeah, if we zoom out, or zoom to the right scale, there's this little volume shelf. There's going to be support there. So I could definitely see over the course of January, Palantir bouncing to 1720, 1721, right around approximate, but then testing that, being rejected, and then coming back down. And if we like zoom in, so there's not a lot of clutter, so there's nothing I kind of remove the stuff on the left side, so we can just see the volume profile for this part of the chart. Going above 1720 now is going to be tough, because that acted as support. And so you have all of this consolidation above it. That's going to be really tough to break above now. There's a little bit of weakness, and I could see, I feel like, just like if you think about this psychologically, oh my God, Palantir just dropped. Oh, but it got caught. It got caught at $16. That makes sense. It's going to go higher. And then people start jumping on board, and then it goes up to 17, which, acted as support over here. And so people start thinking, oh, well, that was support before, it'll be support again. But support becomes resistance, because you have, on this red line, you have all of this consolidation. That's people who, bought there, and when it's down, they're red, they're panicking, they're underwater, they can't take it anymore. And then when it goes back up to 1720, because they've probably gotten their average down a little bit, buying a little bit here, then they offload when it goes back up to the red line, and then price comes down. So I think over the next month, it'll go up to 17 and come back down, and then it will come down and fill that gap. So that's what I see. That's what makes most sense to me, looking at the chart and just thinking about it psychologically. But, I could be wrong. This could break down tomorrow, or it could go up to 17 tomorrow as well, or today. But yeah, I do think that it'll be really important to just see how this responds the next couple of days. And the comparison, I always, just reading a comment. I'll read the comment out loud. Yes, I recalled Tesla prior lower gaps never filled. I agree, Palantir may fill the big gap sometime down to near 15 or below 15. Thanks. I will not get in too early. Any buy above 15 makes sense to me now. Yeah. Yeah, and Palantir, this is one that, in all honesty, I held Palantir in the early days, and I learned a tough lesson of um, basically selling near the bottom because I had lost faith in it and I was just spread too thin. I had too many positions, and um, something I don't know exactly where I sold, but I always wanted to get back into Palantir. But then also with that, there's like an emotional attachment to it. So in that sense, I kind of want to avoid it. And actually, no, I think I did a very small position. I think I had a small position around here, but when it started going up, I I sold it too early. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a really key thing too. Like it's not only important to identify where bottoms are, but you also want to identify where resistance is. And really like resistance isn't necessarily where prior resistance was. That's possible. But if you have like let's see, block is a really nice example of that. I made a video on it because it was just this lesson that I learned. I should have SQ in here. QS, where's SQ? Um, yeah, why wasn't it not showing? Let's see. Oh, okay. It's because I didn't I want to do symbol. Okay. So yeah, let's see. So this, yeah, I mean, I didn't have a lot of free capital or whatever at the time. I bought one share at 39, and I was trying to figure out, where do I think it's going to run to? And I saw, oh, prior resistance was right around 48 bucks. And I was at work, so I couldn't be paying attention to it too much. I had the limit sell at 48. And, whatever, I could have, doubled my money, but I was happy to take, whatever percentage gain that was. But then looking at the chart and realizing that it ran up to 53, and I think actually, if I go over to the after hours pricing, yeah, it ran up to 53. Why did it go up to 53? And if we look at the daily chart again, we can see 53 is right here. The reason why it ran up to 53 is because there was this consolidation that's acting as support. But because there's all that price action above it, there are sellers there. People who bought here thinking, oh, there's this like on, let's see, September 8th, there's a more than 5% drop. Oh, I'm going to buy the dip. And then people start buying it and accumulating here. Oh, this is such a discount compared to how high it was, just a month ago. And then price drops. They try to get their average down. While it's down here, they're just giving up. And then price runs up there, they sell because they're finally not underwater. And yeah, so that's why it went up to 53 and why 48 was not a significant level of resistance. It just happened to run up here. There wasn't enough volume. And so that's why it stopped there. Because, yeah, I mean, you look at it, there's like, look at the volume profile here. There's nothing there. Volume really starts to pick up around like where this 618 retracement is, right around $54. So yeah, it's good to, plan the exits as well. I mean, of course, with block, you could have held a lot longer. I mean, even if you were still holding, that's still a great deal, but it does look like it's flattening out a little bit. And I'm actually curious. I feel like, a lot of things sold off this week, but I'm wondering if there's going to be a little bit of a bounce. And what I could see happening is maybe this bounces and then gets rejected around 70, where this the 23.6 retracement is, and then it could come down. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. And if there are any other requests, happy to go over them. This is one that was, let's see. was requested during a live stream. And just looking at the chart after, I think maybe this, let's see, yeah, I think I was doing a stream on the second, and I was just looking at the chart and it's like, oh man, this looks like it's going to go down a lot. And so I bought a put on it, and I had some orders filled at open, which was probably me selling it, but I think I sold it for I think I was initially like, it was $15, so it's pretty cheap. And I was hoping for, 100% return, like a 2x, and then it expires in February. But what I end up doing is I hold on to contracts for too long. I'm trying to get better at just, taking profits, turning them over quicker. And so I set an order to sell it for, I think, yeah, I bought it for 15 to sell it at 20. I had adjusted that because either way, making $5, making $15, not that big of a difference. But, with this is just one contract. But what I want to eventually get more comfortable with is, waiting for the clear top signals. Like basically, I mean, with this running up, you'd see, oh, this is the top, because the RSI is like 87. This is the top. It's not going any higher. But then people get fooled by that and it runs up even more. And then so up here you have higher highs formed in the price, and you have lower highs, or even if this was flat in the RSI, that would be bearish divergence, suggesting, oh, okay, that's the signal. This is the top. And then it sells off. And so just like waiting for that, and then rather than getting one contract and, go from $15 to $20, maybe get 5 of them. And then you start to you risk more, but options could be a really nice way to make some. Whoa, got a lot of comments. Let's see. Sold most, yeah, before February 2023. Yeah, and I think like for me, like I have some positions that are pretty big, and or I mean, big for me. They're probably really not that big. But then I have a number of positions where it's just really small. And, they're so small that I can kind of forget about them. And then maybe I wait for a nice dip, a good buying opportunity. And then it's like, well, I have, a very small position, very easy to get my average down. And then I think that can be a really nice way. So it's kind of like a boring way to trade. But really, I mean, I think that's like the best way to trade, because if it's really exciting, there's more risk. You're more likely to lose money. So, yeah, I mean, I think holding on to small positions, I think could be a really nice, and then you can very casually hold a number of positions and not worry about them too much. So yeah, I think that's the way I tend to trade. And I actually get teased a little bit because I'll start to acquire a position by buying one share, and then if it's down again, I'll add another share, and so it's very, it's not very exciting. But then my average ends up being pretty low. So I think that's what I need to do, though, is get better at identifying the right times to buy, not just, oh, it's down another day, add more, but, at this level, establish a position. If it goes lower, don't worry about it. But if it goes to this next level, add another like quarter worth of a position and just build it up. And so, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, let's look at Tesla. We were just talking about them. Yeah, so it looks like it might be a bottom here. There's this volume shelf, looks like, or just, a bunch of volume here. And this looks like it's a big bull flag. Starbucks, what's this doing? Going up. Man. Yeah, I think wonder. I forget. Sometimes it's funny. I make a bunch of videos and I forget what I say about stocks. But yeah, I imagine I would have mentioned that this looks like it might be breaking down with this gap down here too. Yeah, getting rejected up there after filling that gap. Yeah. Let's see. Hmm. Yeah, this one to me is too risky for me to participate in. I don't regret, but I'm proud of myself for identifying like these different levels that price might go to, identifying that it consolidated here three days hanging out around that orange line. The line's approximate, but you see that, oh, there are these three tails of the candle that come down 3 days, consolidating there right around, let's see, 68, 69 cents, and then going up. And that had happened before over here with the stock. So, yeah, with what's going on now, I mean, I guess it really just depends on what the close is for the day. But I would want to see a close above yesterday's open. But I mean, I feel like it seems like very clearly suppressed below $1 because it went up to $1 for less than 1 minute and then was pushed back down. So, I mean, but I think that's also kind of like creating a lot of pressure that this could pop. But yeah, less than $1, it's a little risky. Neo, been thinking about doing an updated Neo video because it was a pretty popular one. Same with Alibaba. So maybe those would be a good, like a paired video, Alibaba and Neo. Different sectors, but both Chinese companies, and feeling like they're both going to perform well this year. Looks like it's breaking down. These are interesting because they're like very similar, but there's some subtle differences to them. NextEra Energy. I had a put on this that or maybe a couple I bought up here, and I think I sold yesterday because I thought it looked like it might bounce, and it did. So I'm happy I got out of that. Yeah, and Robinhood. I wonder if I have puts on Robinhood. I might have sold some at open. But I started to establish the position too early with Robinhood because I made a number of videos on Robinhood, but I just kept getting the calls wrong. So it's like either it's, being, unhappy with Robinhood for screwing over retail or, whatever. Just, I wasn't in tune with it. But I just see this uptrending level of support. I expected that to act as resistance. And that's not what happened. I do expect it to act as support again, though. But that might happen, might take many months. So I had gotten some puts, did lose some money on them, but it's like, a few contracts. I think at most I've lost like $50. But it's really just like I will only get good with options if I practice and I learn from my mistakes. And the mistake for this was I needed to wait for a top signal. And that top signal was up here. And so I tried to add to, later dated puts. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll end up losing money on going short on Robinhood because I started too early, but I've learned a lot from it. So I'm really happy about that. Thoughts on Fisker? Is there new news today, or is this just from the 10,000? So there, introduces dealership model as it abandons direct sales in an effort to boost deliveries. Is this the news that you're talking about? Um, so what I see happening with Fisker, so it's, let's see, what's the low so far? 46. I'm really hoping that we don't see any closes below 141. So that's kind of like, um, and so, we were just talking about dollar cost averaging. Um, like I had, let's see, what was the low on this day? Low 144. So basically, I think, because I had started covering Fisker around here and then just like watching it go down, I'm just realizing like I should pick up some shares. And so I think on the 27th, I placed an order for, 10 shares. So you a really small position at 141. And so that didn't get filled because it didn't go that low. But just like in case there's a wick that goes lower than it, like on this day, and I picked up one share, 145. And then, so it's like, I've got such a small position, but then when it came down, I added another share at 154, thinking that that gap would be filled. But then it's like now, I can wait to see if this consolidates a little bit, see what happens. It's all about being patient. You want to, like, on this big move down where it went like, let's see, almost 18% on the day, that might be a discount, but you want to wait to see what happens. And then you start to see, oh, okay, it does look like it's consolidating. It's building some strength. So I just feel like patience is it's really good to be exercising patience. And so I have 2 shares. It's like $3 total. It doesn't matter to me. But, now I'm not only for making videos, but also just for, my own interest. I'm more invested in this. And I think that this is going to have a good year. And yeah, like the news about Fisker. So I don't know if this will pop up. Yeah, sometimes they pop up in the web browser. They're harder to read. So I'll just read this this is from MarketWatch. This is an attempt to boost deliveries. So shares of Fisker bounced by 0.7% in pre-market trading on Thursday after the electric vehicle maker abandoned the direct sales model and introduced a new dealer partnership business model in an effort to boost sales, deliveries, and its test drive network. The stock's bounce comes after it tumbled almost 15% over the first 2 trading days of 2024. The company said it expects to send its first Fisker Ocean EV to new dealers by the end of the first quarter and to have about 100 dealer locations in North America and Europe. And so I think that makes sense because it's like Tesla's, the way that Tesla did it, they were the leaders and they basically had to build the infrastructure, whether that's charging networks or their retailers, their showrooms. And so they had an edge by doing it that way. But right now, with a newer EV company like Fisker, I think that this will expedite the process of them getting deliveries because they don't have to then create that infrastructure for selling their vehicles. And also I think the most successful trade that I've had so far has been Lucid Motors, which I've kind of avoided ever since then because I feel like it's just gotten too emotional. I don't want to buy too early, whatever. But I remember when they were building showrooms. I was living in Seattle at the time, and there was a showroom that was being built in a shopping center right by the Apple store. And it's just like to have to do that is going to take a lot of time and a lot of money. But then to basically outsource that, I think that's I think that will be beneficial for them. So I think it's a good move. I think it makes them more competitive. Yeah, because it's like Tesla did a lot of things great, does a lot of things great, but different things are going to work for different companies, and so I think that this might work better for. I think that this is good, especially if they feel that they're having a tough time. They've had to cut the number of um, units produced down, and so I think that focusing their energy, yeah, because like that last article, yeah, so yeah, a bunch of news. I gotta close this, I guess. Um, a bunch of news coming out about this, bunch of different articles. It's funny, like each article just like is copied and pasted. Um, but yeah, it's all about the dealerships. But yeah, like with them, I don't know what the numbers were exactly, but they ended up beating their deliveries or their units produced because they kept lowering that bar. And so I think that if they're focusing more on producing the vehicles than establishing showrooms and whatnot, I think that's going to be good for the company. Fisker's software issues were behind now after OTA upset. Over the air, is that what OTA stands for? Over the air update version. Sounds like you know a lot about Fisker. Just to build service support and send text to home. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. So I think I mean this is like so I don't know if you guys how long you guys have followed Fisker, but I remember around the same time I think that they were listed that Ride was listed, Lordstown Motors, and yeah, that like there are that's an example of a failed EV company. So the fact that Fisker is still around, still putting stuff out, still making moves, I think that's telling. So yeah, I mean, yeah, and you can look at the old interviews of Elon Musk when, Tesla's being listed. He's just like trashed so much. Everybody doubted him. Nobody thought that he would succeed with it. And, so many shorts on Tesla and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it's tough to start a car company. And yeah, so I think that this will be, I think it will be a very interesting year for Fisker. And when things are down like this, it's so easy to like shit on the company or shit on the stock. And it's like, why would you touch this? Because it went from, like, if I zoom out, it went from $30 a share to $1 a share. Why would you touch that? Because it's there. It's a great discount right now. That's why. And so nobody sees that. People, always chase things. So I mean, it might be a long couple of months of consolidating around here, building some strength, waiting for the first quarter results to come out on their deliveries and things like that. If that's bad, it could stay down here for a while or go lower. Um, if those results are good, this is a great time to be accumulating. Yeah, so a couple comments. Just like Tesla, earlier service support sending mobile text to support owner home to fix car issues. Yeah, so I don't know if are you guys holding Tesla and have you followed them for a while? Um, Tesla is one that when I, a while ago, very passively, when I initially got interested in the stock market, I remember just thinking of, I had learned about, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Who Killed the Electric Car. It's like a documentary about the EV1, which was an EV produced by GM, but then they like canned it because of all of the money it was going to be taking away from their oil money. And so I just didn't think it would be possible for something like Tesla to happen. But I remember thinking about Tesla, and I wish I would have been an early buyer, but oh well. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think that of the like SUV EVs, I think that the Oceans look pretty nice. I think that they're a sleek looking car. So, yeah. So I'm intrigued by them, by the company, by the car, and by the chart. I mean, I wasn't I've been aware of Fisker, but I wasn't too interested in establishing a position until I saw, hey, I mean, it's not perfect, but it does look like it is somewhat respecting this downtrend just based on these two pivot points. And it's a downtrend, so price might go low, be going lower, but yeah, I mean, like, let's see. I mean, this is a short-term move, but from here to there, that's a 50% swing. So, when I've got like so it's like uh it'll be an hour in like 9 minutes or so, and I'm probably gonna sign off right around the hour mark because I should get some sleep. So if there are any other tickers you guys want me to cover, but I might just poke around here. I might actually look at Bitcoin, see what that's doing, which I think is this is on the weekly chart. I want to look on the daily. But I think it's funny. I put out a video about it looking bearish on the second, and then the next day this dropped. But what I see as looking bearish with Bitcoin is that sign, that signal is still there. So this drop that we just saw is not what I was thinking of. So I think that Bitcoin will probably make its way up to 48K. That's what a lot of people are thinking. Um, but I don't think it's gonna be making new all-time highs off of this run. I think it's gonna pull back significantly before hitting the new all-time highs. But that's just me. I'm cautious with Bitcoin. I've been burned on Bitcoin and crypto before, so I want to ease my way into a position I can forget about and hold for the long term. But one that I'm like not necessarily to hold for the long term, but Dogecoin. I think that this, just looking at the potential, if this is to, I feel like it will eventually go to $1 per coin. And so at these prices, it doesn't matter if it's run up a bunch and then is pulling back, whatever. So this is like this and Ethereum Classic, just because they're both easy to move. There's a lot of upside, and yeah. But yeah, Bitcoin is something that if I'm accumulating it, I don't want to ever sell it. Um, let's see. I mentioned Alibaba before. And I might actually look over at natural gas to see on the week. Oh, this is daily. Yeah, so see what happens with those. I'm glad the analysis is helpful. Yeah, and one of the things that when I was first starting the channel, I I wasn't trying to make videos for other people or anything. I was just, I just want to do a trading journal. I just kind of want to analyze stuff for myself and do that to be more accountable with my trading, follow through with plans, or, if I think a dip's coming, be ready for it, stuff like that. And yeah, and really it's just like a learning process for me. And so, yeah, I'm not an expert with technical analysis, but hopefully what I do can help, give you guys another perspective, and, we can learn together. Like, just like with Rivian, I thought it looked bullish, like a bull flag, and then it came down, which I realize it didn't matter what the chart looked like. It's just the fact of it's the new year, and it having similarities with SoFi. I should have put that together. But yeah, so always learning and always just trying to uh, be make better trades. So there's this little emoji thing that always blocks some of the views, so I'm gonna bump that up. Hey, Nameless, what's up? Uh, do I think SE will drop to 35? Hmm. As of right now, I'd want to see what the candle ends up looking like for today. But it does look like, I mean, you have all this volume here from this consolidation. And so I feel like it's going to have a tough time going back down to 35. Um, yeah, I mean, look at this. There's just so much price action down there. I don't really see anything like it doesn't need to go down there. So, I mean, maybe there's some bad news or something later on. Um, but yeah, I could see if it holds this level, like if it closes above 38 today or above what was the open yesterday, 37.88. Yeah, I think I mentioned that in the video. I'm remembering and at 37.66. If it can hold ideally above 38 today, I would think that this is kind of the floor. Um, yeah, and then there's still this gap to the upside. Um, I guess is there like earnings or anything? So there's just earnings. Yeah, it dropped on earnings. Let's see. Does it have a tendency to? Yeah, I guess it has a tendency to drop on earnings. But not back here though. Yeah, so I mean this is like, it keeps dropping on earnings. These three earnings. Maybe the next earnings it'll pop. And the next earnings is the beginning of March. So um, yeah, I feel like it's not terribly likely it'll go down to 35, but it could surprise us. But yeah, just because there's a lot of price action down there, there's no gap to fill. That like the line here at 35.21, I think is really just like a bottom line. That was the close here, I believe, like a 35.21, and there was a close below that, and this is uh, I feel like this is yeah, just a classic fake out. You know, people draw like myself draw this line and say if it goes lower than that, I'm out. But that's exactly how they get those shares. Uh, they drop it below this line that seems so significant. Even there, what's the low on this day? The low is 35.20. So just 1 cent below that. And then, oh, we didn't squeeze enough, push enough people out of their positions. Let's drop it a little bit lower. And then up. Yeah, so I don't think it's likely to go back down to 35. Let's see. I think this one's an interesting one. I made a video on it. I think probably being more bearish than I should have been. But I just, this is, just uptrending. I feel like this is going to break to the downside. But it could uptrend to fill this gap and then drop. I don't know. Oh, crap. Dish has been delisted? Crazy. I made some videos on this. Hmm. I need to learn more about this. Those videos weren't very popular though, so That's a fine thing. Unless I can't remember, did I just recently put out a video on Dish? I can't remember. But yeah, wow. But that was I made videos going on. Yeah. It's crazy. And I think if I did make a video recently, I was probably thinking that I was going to pull back. But yeah, that's crazy. So it becomes, okay, so it's delisted because it's a different, what is this? Okay, so it's Sats. So Dish is now Sats. Huh. Crazy. I'm going to have to put this on the DGenEd watch list. But yeah, I think yeah, it's been about an hour. So I think I might end the stream. I got to get some sleep. Um, I I feel like my work schedule is pretty odd tomorrow, so I don't think I'll be able to stream during the market hours tomorrow. But I'll definitely do the normal like Sunday stream at let's see, 9 p.m. Eastern, and then after that, I can probably do morning streams like this throughout next week. So basically, I'll stream at 9 p.m. before I go to work, and then when I get back from work, I'll stream during market hours, and then I could probably just do uh, uh, market open streams for next week, and then the week after, I have the first 3 days of the week off because my birthday is that week, and I'll probably be streaming a lot then. But yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna get some sleep, and then I'll try to put out 4 videos today. If there are tickers that you're dying to have me cover, you can put them in the comments, and I'll try to cover them. I've got like I kind of get into this a routine of like I put out a video and then it's really popular, and then something interesting happens with the chart like the next couple days, and then I just end up doing the same. Like it's like a Rivian, SoFi, Fisker are pretty highly requested. So I'll be doing some of those. I'll be doing all of those over the weekend, if not sooner. But yeah, with that being said, I'm going to throw up the subscribe thing. If you like the content, make sure you like it. Share your thoughts in the comments below. And yeah, subscribe to the channel. I will be streaming again, definitely on Sunday evening. And I'll be putting more videos out soon. So thanks so much for joining. Thanks for the live chat comments. It's always fun to do these. So I'll see you guys on the next stream. Happy trading today. Take care, guys.